everyone, and welcome back to Cheryl and Mom's Collectible Dolls. I'm Cheryl. My mom passed about 2.5 years ago, and I named the business for her because of her love of dolls and how she bought me a doll for every Christmas since my first one until she passed and couldn't do it. Well, before she passed, but in 2019 she had to go on a ventilator. So anyway, that was the last Christmas she bought me 2 dolls. So I'm here because some of my customers have asked me to show them how to restring a doll. Very simple, not expensive to do or anything. Just takes time and patience. And I will say patience because I've already filmed this once, and even though I know what I'm doing, I made mistakes and did it wrong. So I think because I'm trying to talk to you and do it, got to keep my brain on it. So I've already cut her apart. And you have to be careful because sometimes the head and the legs are, and this is an old F&B doll. She's very pretty. And she's was strung together with one piece of an old rubber band. And you can see that's corroded and clamped and everything. So she was so loose she couldn't even hold her head up. So to begin with, I've got all my tools out, and let me go over those with you. I have just regular pair of household scissors to cut apart and cut off the cording. I have a pair of small pliers. My hands are very small, so regular set of pliers I have a hard time using. You could use them if you can handle them well. I just can't. So I got these on Amazon. Came in a set of 3, and it was the needle nose and those, and then a little bigger pair of needle nose. So those were very cheap. Then you also need hemostats, like they use on surgeons, use them to clamp things off, and you see them on medical TV shows like Chicago Med or whatever you happen to watch. The Good Doctor, I don't know. So I don't like the sight of blood, so I don't watch many of them. But anyway, I got these there, and I think it was a set of 3 or 4, I think 4 on Amazon, and inexpensive. I want to say under $20 if I remember right. I've had them for a while now. And then you also need a hook, a longer hook. This one happens to be my favorite. I got it on Amazon. I also got these on Amazon, and these two are 2 different lengths. But you see how they have the little thing to close? I don't know if you can see that. To close the hook. I don't like that because I can't get the hook closed at a right angle when I'm trying to do it inside the doll. So my recommendation is not to get those. But you do want something that's flexible and can bend some, because the lady who I bought a lot of dolls from and her whole kit on restringing had these old metal ones. And while they're long and the hook's really good on them, they don't give it all. They're steel. So, you know, you can see these. And these had such a big head on them that not being able to bend it, it was hard to get in and out of the doll. So, you know, each to their own. You also need the cording. Used to be, like I showed you, the rubber band. In the old days, they used to use rubber bands, and they dry up, they corrode, not good. And that's why your doll starts getting loose and eventually comes apart. I got the cording from dollsparts.com, and that's DOLS, like plural of dolls, parts.com, no space in between. They have so many different things for dolls. I mean, the plaster to put them back together, all different things. Plus wigs, plus shoes, plus doll clothes, plus dolls' bodies so you can put in a new head. I mean, just everything. They have all the stuff to wash doll clothes that I use too. I wouldn't say, in fact, I won't say they're cheap, but for the cording, they're reasonable. They really are the best place in town. And you pay, like they sell it in, I think it's 5-foot increments. And so it's not much at all. It comes like wrapped in a coil like this. So as you can see, I have out here some examples. Okay, look at how thin this one is. That's for a really tiny doll. Then we have, this one's a little bigger, but not a whole lot. Now we have what I'm going to use tonight. And then we have this thicker one. And I think there's one even thicker. Doll's Parts is great about this in that I don't know how to tell what strength or of elastic they need. I wouldn't have a clue. But they have this handy dandy drop down menu that tells you by the height of your doll. Now, a lot of people say that if it's, if your doll is under, a small doll, then you should use all one piece of elastic. I don't agree, and I don't do it that way. I like to do it in 2 separate steps. But the best thing to do is get your elastic. Now this is, the one they recommend for this doll is 18 inches, and they recommend the 1/8, I don't know, inch or what, a strength cord. So that's what we're gonna use tonight. Besides, that happens to be what I use the most. I have the most of that one. Okay, and when you take her, when I cut her apart, make sure if you cut off her, you pull up the head and you can cut the rubber band off this hook. Make sure that you have her legs firm against you or something else, because they can snap off. Your head can go flying, or legs can go flying. So just FYI, I've learned that by experience, and you don't want to do that. Alrighty, so as I said, I like to do it in 2 pieces. And tonight we're going to do first her head that connects both her legs, okay? And I already know I say okay too much, and I'm sorry. And if I try to think about that, I'll screw up doing the doll again. So you'll just have to put up with my saying, okay? All right? So for the legs and her head, I want it to go a little bit above, hope you're seeing that, where the neck is, and a little bit below the crotch. And then I leave myself some room to tie it off. So, and I'll cut it. A lot of people don't do the cutting until after they've strung it, which is probably less wasteful. If you screw up like I did the first one tonight, you haven't wasted any. But I'm not that coordinated yet doing this. I've been doing it, I guess, about 6 months, but it's been a few months now since I have done any. Okay, so for this part, her legs and her head are going to be on all one piece. Now, I hope you can see that little hook. Yeah, she has so much hair in the way. But that little hook hanging down out of her head, okay? And it's hooked around a bar inside. Okay, see that white bar? Now there's another thicker bar in there, and you don't want to mess with it, because that's what controls her eyes opening and closing. So don't mess with it, just make sure you have it on the one thinner bar. Then we're going to take this piece of cord that we just cut, and we're going to slip it through. Oh, uh-oh. Let's see. Yeah, it's still there. Okay. We're going to slip it through this end of the hook. Now, this hook is kind of tight already. It won't, it's not open very far, and that cord is not going to fit through it at this angle. So I'm going to take my needle nose pliers and open up the hook some, just so we can get that cording through it. And I hope you can see that. Well, actually, she hooked on the side of her own body. Her neck, okay. Hope you can see that. So I'm going to take that, and I'm going to run this cord through the opening. So I have to pull it up some. Let me see. So I can see where the hook's hanging there and pull it through there. Which my hand probably is in your way. So there it is, okay? But the hook's now, I opened it wider so it would fit through. So now I got to squeeze it closed again because we don't want it to come off this doll. And sometimes it's easier said than done. Sometimes it's a lot easier to do this whole process if you have somebody to help you. I learned by watching YouTube videos, and my friend from my doll club, Pat, who a lot of you may know from my auctions, she helps with all my auctions. She and her husband came over one afternoon and we strung a few dolls. And bringing her husband was a good idea because he's a big, strong guy and he could get things tighter than just one of us could, or even the two of us. So let's see if I can get this thing bent back in. It wants to stay open too wide, and I don't want it that way because it will come out. Some people use these clamps. I think they're called U-clamps, and they sell all that stuff on Dolls Parts too. You can buy the cording, you can buy all the tools, but personally, for the tools, Amazon was cheaper for me. So it's just what you're more comfortable with. But I would recommend getting the cord itself off Dolls Parts because it tells you which size to get based on the size of your doll. Okay, just about got it. One more try here. I opened it too good. There it goes. I don't want it to, since her legs are going to be hooked to this, you want to make sure that it's going to stay. There it goes. Okay. So she's all hooked together. Now, I'm going to take her, the two ends, put them down through the neck, and I have little fingers so I can usually reach up and pull them down, but that's what the hook's for. So when you see them inside the body, oh, now I got to move the camera again.